Peace everybody, back with another video. This is John Travolta breaking from Scientology after death of Kelly Preston. No, John Travolta has not broken away from Scientology. I don't know why the Daily Mail is saying that, because it's a lie. But as you can see here, here's John Travolta with his family, and when they were married. And of course, as you can see, that little blue building there, that's the Scientology building right there. Scientology is a cult church, even though the courts years ago said it was a religion church, but I don't believe it, because it's a cult. And Leah Remini, she has exposed all the lies that the Scientology was hiding. She exposed the abuse and everything that went on there. John Travolta faces a make or break moment over his 45-year devotion to Scientology after the death of his wife, Kelly Preston, as he defined the church's opposition to cancer treatments. DailyMail.com has learned. Yeah, so allegedly John Travolta faces a make or break moment over his 45-year devotion to Scientology. So once you're in with the Scientology, you're there for life. There's no ands, ifs, and buts about it. I should know, because I was with them for 2 years before I broke away, because I didn't want to get too deep into it. Travolta summarily announced his wife of nearly 30 years had passed away on Sunday, July 12th, from breast cancer at the age of 57. Writing, Kelly had fought a courageous fight with the love and support of so many. And so Kelly Preston had breast cancer she was battling. And of course, this was on 30-year had passed away on Sunday, July 12th, that she had passed away. In the post, the 66-year-old actor openly praised Kelly's medical team, adding, "My family and I will forever be grateful to her doctors and nurses at MD Anderson Cancer Center, all the medical centers that have helped." Yeah, so John Travolta is 66 years old. He don't even look it to me. He openly praised Kelly's medical team, adding, "My family and I will forever be grateful to her doctors and nurses." So that's who he's praising, the doctors and nurses at the MD Anderson Cancer Center. Houston's MD Anderson Cancer Center is at the forefront of cancer treatment in the United States and is currently ranked the top hospital in the country for cancer care. So now you got Houston's MD Anderson Cancer Center is at the forefront, and it also says it is ranked the top hospital in the country for cancer care. Well, actually, not really, because up here in my city we have Roswell Park. That is more better than what they're trying to say. Former Scientology members and friends have come forward to praise Travolta and suggested he is breaking away from the church, pointing out that founder L. Ron Hubbard was really opposed to chemotherapy and radiation. Well, we know L. Ron Hubbard is no longer around because he was a cult leader, but they're saying that he was opposed to chemotherapy and radiation. Former Scientology members and friends have come forward to praise Travolta and suggested he is breaking away from the church. I find it hard to believe that he's breaking away from the church, because once you are with them, like I said, you're there for life. There's no getting out of it, no matter how much you try to get away. And once you try to break away, they will come and hunt you down and drag you back. Ex-member and open critic Jeffrey Augustine told DailyMail.com the statement was unequivocal in the support of medical staff. It shows they've backed away from Scientology. So you have an ex-member and open critic, Jeffrey Augustine, who told DailyMail.com the statement was unequivocal in the support of medical staff, right? And they also said it shows they've backed away from Scientology. And of course, here's John Travolta with his family. Here's his wife who had passed away, their 2 children. They did have a third one, but Jet had drowned a long time ago. Here's John Travolta with his wife, Kelly Preston, when they were first married. And of course, here's the Church of Scientology itself. And this church is a cult. I don't want to hear, oh, it's not a cult, this and that. Yes, it is a cult. It is a cult. He continued, it'll hurt to lose your wife of 30 years. There will be grief. It's human. There's no acknowledgement in that statement of Scientology. David Miscavige or auditing, there's nothing that's critical. He took care of it in his own hands. This is a personal matter, like I don't need the church. So they say he continued, it'll hurt to lose your wife of 30 years. There is no acknowledgement in that statement of Scientology. And then, of course, David Miscavige, who is the chairman of the church, he's the one that's abusing people in the Church of Scientology. And of course, he's out in California, or either that in Clearwater, Florida, but it's one of them 2 places where he's at. But David Miscavige is an abuser to people of the Church of Scientology. This is why it's a cult, and you should never, ever join this church, ever, because it's a cult. Representatives for Travolta and the Church of Scientology did not return DailyMail.com's request for comment. Of course not, because the Church of Scientology don't want to put anything out, because they don't want to be exposed for who they really are after Leah Remini had exposed everything about the church. And I do mean everything. Founder Hubbard said in his November 1959 lecture that cancer is not caused. It always requires a second dynamic or sexual upset, such as the loss of children or some other mechanism to bring about a condition known as cancer. So now Founder Hubbard said in his November 1959 lecture that cancer is not caused. Excuse me, but how would he know? It always requires a second dynamic or sexual upset. Well, excuse me, but didn't he have cheated on his wife or never been married or whatever, L. Ron Hubbard? How would he know how other people would feel about cancer that people are getting? And people can't even go get their treatment done. L. Ron Hubbard doesn't know anything except babbling about nothing. Augustine said Hubbard was really opposed to chemotherapy and radiation, but people realize that auditing doesn't work when it comes to serious diseases. Thank you, Augustine. At least you make some sense. Alright, so Augustine said that Hubbard was really opposed to chemotherapy. In other words, L. Ron Hubbard was against chemotherapy. He didn't want people to get treatments for it because he was afraid afraid that if they found out that he would kick him out of the church. Oh well, too bad. People need their chemotherapy. It works. But even though L. Ron Hubbard was against chemotherapy, radiation, who cares what he thought? In the church, they say you lost jet, so that's why you got cancer. So we need to audit that out. So now the church is saying, they say you lost jet. In other words, their oldest son, who allegedly drowned, I forgot how many years ago, and that's why you got cancer. So we need to audit that out. No, that's not the reason. And of course, here's L. Ron Hubbard, who's a cult leader, but he is no longer alive. He died in 1980 something, a long time ago. So that's how long it's been. And of course, you can see L. Ron Hubbard here holding the audit thing and everything else that he's doing. But they did it with medicine. This was handled professionally and elegantly. I really admire the way he did it. He made Scientology a non-part of Kelly's death. So they did it with medicine. This was handled professionally and elegantly. I really admire the way that he did it. So, in other words, you have to audit out of everything. They have you hold these silver things in both your hands to see if it goes up or down, and they wonder if you're lying or not. And of course, you know, this Scientology is just plain evil. Travolta, who had joined the church in 1975, said in his statement he would be taking some time to be there for his two children, Ella Blue and Benjamin, adding, "So forgive me in advance if you don't hear from us for a while." Alright, so John Travolta joined the Church of Scientology in 1975. He said in his statement he would be taking some time to be there for his two children, Ella Blue and Benjamin. Also adding, "So forgive me in advance if you don't hear from us for a while." Well, you know, I mean, these people at the Church of Scientology, they don't care about your family problems. They really don't. They want you to be there every single day. Brendan Tay, a former security guard from Tom Cruise and Travolta, told DailyMail.com, "It's as tragic as it gets to me. I honestly don't know what he will do, but I guess that he will go through the full gamut of emotion. They were definitely each other's rock." So you got a former security guard for Tom Cruise and Travolta told DailyMail.com, "It's as tragic as it gets to me. I honestly don't know what he will do." Well, you know what? John Travolta may need a little time for himself in that, but he's gonna go right back to the Church of Scientology, whether or not he likes it or not. But he's been with them since 1975, so that's how long it's been. I also guess that he will take some time off with his kids to travel the world and get some space. His Scientology handlers will, of course, try to be there at every step, but he may not want the help right away. Well, of course he's... Alright, his handlers that John Travolta has, they're always going to be watching him, no matter what. They're going to be watching him where he goes, who he's with, this and that, because that's how they are. The handlers are. Alright? They write down every step you've taken, everything else, so they can write it up in the computer and everything. Say like John Travolta went to a pizza shop to order pizza and whatever else. They'll write that down, and then when they get back to the church, they'll put it in the computer where he has been. And also, they will monitor everything that he does. On July 3rd, 9 days before his wife's death, Travolta was spotted at a sports bar and grill, which happened to be a few hundred feet from the church's headquarters in Clearwater, Florida. Okay, so he was in Clearwater, Florida for the Church of Scientology, because that's where the headquarters is. All right. So on July 3rd, 9 days before his wife's death, Travolta was spotted at a sports bar and grill, which happened to be a few hundred feet from the church's headquarters in Clearwater, Florida. So yeah, so the people at the church, they must have saw him go to a sports bar and grill. Probably he went in there for food or whatever it was that he was in there for. And of course he got caught being spotted there. Former bar owner Clay Irwin was given the photos and passed them on to anti-church blogger Tony Ortega. Yeah, so anti-church blogger Tony Ortega had been passed the pictures to him by a former bar owner, Clay Irwin, who had given the photos and passed them on to anti-church blogger Tony Ortega. Irwin has had numerous run-ins with Scientology, but said Kelly and Travolta were the only two Scientologists I ever liked. They were always nice, always made me feel comfortable, and she's a beautiful person. It's upsetting. Yeah, so Irwin had a numerous run-ins with Scientology because he was against it. But he did say Kelly and Travolta were the only two Scientologists that he ever liked. They were always nice, always made me feel comfortable. And she's a beautiful person. It's upsetting. So yeah, so he was against the Church of Scientology the whole time. But he liked John Travolta and Kelly Preston. This is the second tragedy to impact Travolta after his son Jet died in controversial circumstances in January 2009 at the age of 16. So yeah, so this is the second tragedy to impact Travolta after his son Jet died in controversial circumstances in January of 2009 at the age of 16. And as you can see, here's John Travolta with his wife, Kelly Preston. Here's another picture of him with his wife and their son. Here's John Travolta with Jet, their oldest son. Sam Domingo, daughter-in-law of opera star Placido Domingo and one of the church's VIP members for 22 years, claimed she saw firsthand the daily brainwashing Preston received at Scientology's global headquarters in Clearwater, Florida, after Jet's death from a fatal seizure. So Jet had a fatal seizure when he died. There was a VIP members for 22 years claimed she saw firsthand the daily brainwashing. So that's what the Scientology does. It brainwashes you, all right? They tell you you can't go see your family. You gotta stay away from your family. If you don't, we're coming for you. What else? They oppose everything. They don't want you having a life at all. This is why they want you to break up with your family, because the Church of Scientology handlers are saying, oh, we're your family now. You don't need your family. Well, guess what? You know what? I'm glad that I'm not with them anymore, and this is why I'm glad I broke away before it got too deep. And that was that. The couple were publicly criticized for not admitting Jet had autism, a condition the church doesn't recognize, and instead she said he suffered from the very rare Kawasaki syndrome. which is supposedly caused by frequent exposure to carpet cleaner despite no medical evidence. So the couple were publicly criticized for not admitting Jet had autism, okay? So they lied and said that he had died from fatal seizures, but they didn't want to admit that Jet had autism as well. So this is why they were criticized for it, all right? And a condition the church doesn't recognize, because the Church of Scientology don't care. They don't recognize nothing like this, all right? So this is why they're not a good church at all, because they're evil. All right. And also said he suffered from the very rare Kawasaki syndrome, which is supposedly caused by frequent exposure to carpet cleaner, despite no medical evidence. But yeah, so he was being exposed to carpet cleaner as well, even though they say despite no medical evidence. Domingo said, I saw Kelly going in for her daily brainwashing. She was staying at the hotel at Flag Base. Kelly was the driving force behind John's involvement, in my honest opinion. So, yeah, so Domingo says that, I don't know if it's a he or she, saw Kelly going in for her daily brainwashing, and that's what they do. They brainwash you, the Church of Scientology. They don't care about you. It's a cult. They will do anything they can to get you away from your family and everything. All right. Also, the person says she was staying at the hotel at Flag Base. So that's where the flag is down in Clearwater, Florida. Kelly was the driving force behind John's involvement, in my honest opinion. So that's what it was. She was like one of the Stepford wives, always hanging out at Celebrity Center International along with Jada Pinkett Smith and Ann Archer. Yes, so she was like one of the Stepford wives. She was always hanging out at Celebrity Center International along with Jada Pinkett Smith and Ann Archer. So Jada Pinkett was also a member of the Church of Scientology as well, along with Ann Archer. Kelly would say herself that Scientology helped her get over Jet's death. They believe he was reincarnated. She was constantly getting audited, constantly under the thumb. John Travolta had handlers 24/7 to get him through. Yes, so the handlers, they're around you 24/7. There's no way out of it. All right, there isn't. Once you have handlers, that's it. You are their property. No ands, ifs, and buts about it. All right. Kelly would say herself that Scientology helped her get over Jet's death. Literally, I would not go back to the church at all. I would never go back. Because once there's a death in the family, you would say, that's it, goodbye. But instead, they're saying that the church had helped her get over Jet's death. They believe he was reincarnated. How is anybody going to be reincarnated? She was constantly getting audited consistently under the thumb. All right, so that's what happened. And of course, John Travolta had handlers 24/7 to get him through. So yeah, once the handlers get a hold of you, that's it. You're theirs, and they're going to be up on you all the time. This will make or break him. He'll pay a lot of money to get spiritual counseling, to talk to Kelly, or he'll maybe come to the realization that Scientology isn't making him happy anymore, nor saved his wife. Yeah, so they're saying that this will make or break him, and he'll pay a lot of money to get spiritual counseling, to talk to Kelly, or he'll maybe come to a realization that Scientology isn't making him happy anymore, nor saved his wife. Well, John Travolta has paid a lot of money. All right, of course, you pay a lot of money to be there. millions of dollars, thousands of dollars, whatever it takes. But with these Hollywood movie actors, yeah, they will pay a lot of money to be there. It doesn't matter the amount of money. It don't matter what kind of amount of money it is, but as long as you're paying to be there, you're paying to be there. Here's John Travolta with his buddies. I don't know who they are, so. Domingo claimed Travolta will be told not to grieve because Scientology doesn't allow time for it. She explained the church's core belief is that humans have millions of lives and the body is just a shell, as humans are constantly reincarnating. So yeah, so Domingo did claim Travolta will be told not to grieve. In other words, he's not allowed to cry or nothing, all right? And it's sad that John Travolta is not going to be allowed to grieve at all for the loss of his wife. Because, and it's also, Domingo says, because Scientology doesn't allow time for it. So they're not going to allow you to grieve. They're not going to allow you to cry. They're not going to allow you to do anything except be there every single day and paying up that money. That is it. Also, it says that humans have millions of lives and the body is just a shell, as humans are constantly reincarnating. Well, still, people do have a right to grieve and cry and everything, but with Scientology, they say they don't allow it. So, grief and feeling sad is very low on the harmonic emotional tone scale. A lot of times, stay upbeat, be happy. It's very weird, Domingo said. Yeah, so grief and feeling sad is very low on the harmonic emotional tone scale. All right, and also Domingo said a lot of times stay upbeat, be happy is very weird, and this is what Domingo has said. They believe the person has flown off. It's something to celebrate. They've gone off to get a new body. The concept of death is very different from normal. So, all right, so they're saying they believe the person has flown off. It's something to celebrate. They've gone off to get a new body. Well, I don't know about all that, but it's just that, you know, once somebody passes away, their spirit goes somewhere, but we don't know where. But to go off to get a new body, I don't know about all that. You see young kids saying, we mustn't be sad. It's great that mom's going to get a new body. I saw with old friends of mine who were still in, their kids posting stuff like, we're staying uptoned, upbeat. So yeah, so you got kids that are saying, even now kids are being brainwashed into the Scientology as well. Now they're being brainwashed by the lies and everything that comes with it. They're saying, we mustn't be sad. It's great that mom's going to get a new body. Well, where is she going to get a new body from? There's nowhere to get a new body, really. And then they just said, I saw with old friends of mine who were still in, their kids posting stuff like, we're staying upturned and upbeat. So that's what they're saying. But see, this is what I mean now. The kids are being brainwashed. They are not allowed to think for themselves anymore, because once the handlers get them, that's it. He would be getting auditing to communicate with Kelly's spirit, address anything they need to finish up. Its auditing would mean that he can say a proper goodbye so she can go off and get another body. Some believe where they know they're going and whom their new parents are. So yeah, so he would be getting auditing, in other words, John Travolta, communicate with Kelly's spirit, address anything they need to finish up. So probably whatever the unfinished business they're saying that he needs to finish it up. Is auditing would mean that he can say a proper goodbye so she can go off and get another body. They don't get a chance to ever properly grieve. Yes, so they don't. So this is why the Scientology forbids you from getting to have grieving and everything else. And it's sad that these people at Scientology are so evil that it's a cult, and you need to stay away from them churches because it's just not a good place to be. Leader David Miscavige spoke at the funeral of founder L. Ron Hubbard in 1986, saying the body he had could no longer serve his purposes. This decision was one made at complete cost by L. Ron Hubbard. And of course, you know, the leader is David Miscavige, who likes to abuse people allegedly in the church. When Leah Remini had described everything when I watched the series Scientology, the Aftermath, she described everything that went on at the church. And it was just horrifying what David Miscavige was doing to these people. She knew that David Miscavige was abusing people. Some people had black eyes and everything else. So this is why David Miscavige is not happy with himself. I don't know what David Miscavige thoughts are or anything, but he is an abuser, and this is why Leah Remini had described every single horror detail of what on in that church after she left them. Let's see. Also, it says the body he had could no longer serve his purposes. In other words, founder L. Ron Hubbard. This decision was one made at complete cost by L. Ron Hubbard. Although you may feel grief, understand that he did not and does not know now. He has simply moved on to his next step. As Scientologists, we know more than anyone that we are not bodies. We have bodies, and our current existence is 1 in a million that we have lived and will live. Yes, so although you may feel grief, understand that he did not and does not now. He has simply moved on to his next step. So whatever the next step is, that's what they moved to. He has simply moved on to his next step. As Scientologists, we know more than anyone that we are not bodies. We have bodies. But our bodies is temporarily our home, because earth is not our home. Our home is up in heaven somewhere. So this is why we have to do whatever we need to do on earth before we move on to the next step, whatever that next step is. Of course, here's the guy, whoever this is. There's another two. I don't know who these people are, so don't ask. Here's Scientology. This is the one in Clearwater, Florida. Here's another one where it's been boarded up, as you can see. The Church of Scientology has not publicly commented on Kelly's passing, nor the suicide of Benjamin Keel on the same day, whose mother, Lisa Marie Presley, was a member until 2014. Alright, so Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter of Elvis Presley. She was a member of the Church of Scientology as well until 2014. All right, and of course, the Church of Scientology has not publicly commented on Kelly's passing. Of course, they're not going to comment because you can't even reason with a cult church. More remarkably, it failed to address prominent member that 70s show star Danny Masterson being charged in mid-June for raping 30 women amid accusations that Scientology harassed and intimidated his victims. Yeah, so more remarkably, it failed to address prominent member that 70s show Danny Masterson. He was being charged in mid-June for raping 3 women amid accusations that Scientology harassed and intimidated his victims. So that's what they're saying. This silence has led critics to question the suicide rate of church members and its long-standing mistrust of traditional medicine of conditions such as cancer. Yeah, so the silence has led critics to question the suicide rate of church members. So I guess people are becoming suicidal, allegedly. And of course, the long-standing mistrust of traditional medicine for conditions such as cancer. For the past few weeks, the church's numerous buildings around Hollywood have been boarded up, heavily forfeited against the Black Lives Matter protests. Oh, here we go again. Here we go again with the Black Lives Matter. It better be the radical kind, because those are the ones that are funded by George Soros. The radical ones, not the peaceful ones, the radical ones. Alright, so the church has been boarded up heavily, fortified against the Black Lives Matter protests. So that's how long it's been. Augustine says Scientology is useless. They boarded up all their orgs during the protests in LA when the social unrest happened. They were more concerned about their orgs rather than the protesters. It's their utter inability to do anything lately, and this just adds to that. Yeah, so Augustine said that Scientology is useless. And it is true, it's useless, because they don't want you doing this, doing that. They want you to split apart from your family. They don't want you to go see them, go shopping with them, nothing. So this is why it's useless. Of course, they boarded up all their orgs during the protests in LA when the social unrest happened. They were more concerned about their orgs rather than the protesters. So yes, the Scientology people are just caring about their orgs. They don't care about people at all. They brainwash you, they lie to you, and everything else. I've never seen them this important. They don't know what to do. They've not even issued a statement over Travolta, even though I'm sure they'll have a memorial for Kelly. Yeah, so they're saying that I've never seen them this important. They don't know what to do. Of course they don't know what to do. They're confused. What do you expect out of Scientology? It's a brainwashing center. And they not even issued a statement over Travolta, even though I'm sure they'll have a memorial for Kelly. Their response to everything is to be boarded up. I had the streets to myself when I took these photos. Why have they gone deaf, dumb, and blind? They retreated from the world. Yes, of course the Scientologists have retreated from the world, because you know they're not going to want to talk to anybody. They do not care about you. All they want to do to you is brainwash you, tell you lies that are not true. They don't feel grief for the loss of their family or if a pet dies. They don't care about none of that. They have handlers that will watch you 24/7. They write down everywhere that you go. They keep track of you every single day. They want to know if you are going home or if you're going here or going there. And this is why they don't care about you, because they want to know what you're about. They want to know your whole history about everything. L. Ron Hubbard said that Scientology is supposed to comfort anything, and I hope, and I have photographic evidence that they comfort nothing. Yeah, so the person said that, L. Ron Hubbard said that Scientology is supposed to comfort anything, and I have photographic evidence that they comfort nothing. And they don't comfort you. They don't care. They say, oh, well, we're going to keep track of this person. We're just going to write everything down where this person goes. We're also going to write down to see if this person goes home or not. Blah, blah, blah. And this is what they do. They don't care about your life. And if you're part of this Church of Scientology, please get out while you can. Because once you go too deep into it, that's it. There is no escaping. They will have handlers come after you like crazy. And it is the truth. And I'm glad I got away while I could. So this way they can't control me or anything. Even if your kids are in it, please get them out now. Get them out of that church now. The Church of Scientology is an evil cult place, and it's not safe at all. So, and they are brainwashers, because they tell you lies that, like, there is no tomorrow, and you believe all their lies. And when you go look up on the Google that Scientology is a cult, you'll know that it is a cult for real. So do your research on this church, because it's not safe at all. It's a brainwashing center, and you're just going to get too caught up in it. But please get out while you can, because if you don't, you're going to be theirs for the rest of their life, and that'll be it until the day you die. Even when you die, they're going to still own you. So it doesn't matter how many years you've been there or whatnot, but please get out now. Leave your comments below. I am out.